Welcome to the program. The United States is punishing the UN cultural agency UNESCO after it voted to recognize Palestine as a full member. In the past hour, the State Department said it will withhold a $60 million contribution to the agency that it was due to donate next month.
Well, those countries obviously made their own national decisions on this vote. We disagree with them. We made clear that we disagree with them before the vote. We make clear that we disagree with them after the vote. We also make clear here today that we want to continue our relationship with UNESCO, but as we said before this vote, and as we have had to say today, legislative restrictions compel us to withhold our funding now, and that will have an impact on UNESCO.
Al Jazeera's Roslyn Jordan's at the US State Department now. Roslyn, what's been the US reaction to this decision by UNESCO to give the Palestinians full membership?
Well, as we just heard there from spokeswoman Victoria Nuland, this was an inevitable outcome from the vote at UNESCO today in Paris. The U.S. Congress has put in restrictions which essentially compel the U.S. government to withhold payments to any UN agency that would recognize the Palestinian Authority as a separate and independent Palestinian state. So essentially, the Obama administration's hands have been tied here, and even though the U.S. State Department does believe that withholding the $60 million contribution could be quite damaging to the work that UNESCO does, in which the U.S. Wants to support, it really has no other option at this point except to go along with this law. At this hour, one of the assistant secretaries for international organizations here at the State Department, Esther Brimmer, is meeting with a number of U.S. high-tech and pharmaceutical firms to explain to them how this vote in UNESCO today could have an impact on their operations, Darren. It is a cascading or domino effect, as it were, because other international organizations under the UN's auspices could also be affected if they, too, were to recognize a separate and independent Palestinian state. For those companies, that means a much more difficult time protecting their intellectual property rights, and so it could be construed that the U.S. government is reaching out to business here in the U.S. perhaps to get them involved in what has become a much broader debate than simply the question of Palestinian statehood.
Roslyn, you say the hands of the Obama administration are tied in this matter. Does the U.S. worry about the perception that it's losing global influence here?
Oddly enough, the State Department says that it's not worried about losing influence. What it's more concerned, it says, is about the possibility of losing the ability to affect positive change in other countries, as well as to advance the interests of U.S. business and cultural interests in this country. But in terms of losing its overall global influence, the U.S. government is pushing back against that characterization.
All right, Roslyn, thank you.